Hi, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to walk you through setting up an InDesign document in which we will set up the pages, we will place images, we will define Pantone colors, and then finally we will export it to a PDF. So let's go ahead and get started. So you see that I have InDesign open, and I'm going to set up a new multiple page document, in this case a 9-page document. So we're going to say File, New Document. And in this first window, there's a lot of stuff that we need to take care of to make sure that we don't have problems later on. So for example, the units that I want to use are inches. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to set it to inches. And in this case, I want it to be horizontal, so I'm going to set it to a landscape orientation. I don't want to have facing pages for this particular document. Facing pages means, of course, is like if you had a book and you had page 1 and then 2 and 3, etc. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to go ahead and set up that I have 9 pages. So I have 9 pages there, and I'm going to go ahead and I could set select one of the presets over here. We've got print, web, mobile, etc. But I know exactly what I want. It's just going to be letter size. So I'm going to make it 11 inches wide by 8.5 inches tall. So we've got 9 pages. Page is starting at number 1. And I'm only going to have 1 column now so that I don't need multiple columns. In some layouts you would, but in this one I don't. So I can say create. And now I have my document. The other thing that you're going to see is I have my rulers visible. You can make that visible or invisible by hitting Command R or Command R to make them come back. I should save my document. So this is going to be for a logo guide. So I'm going to call it VB Counts Guide. All right, so I know that page 1, and if I go here and expand my pages palette, I know that page 1 is going to be my cover. So I do need to come up with a cover design. I'm not going to bore you guys with all the different intricacies of design in this case, in this video. I'm just going to show you how we're going to place elements. So this is going to be a guide for the VB Counts logo, which I designed for the city of Virginia Beach in reference to the census here in 2020. So to place an image in here, I'm going to go File, Place, and I have a 2-color version of the logo. One thing that you may want to deselect is Replace Selected Item. And what that will do is if you had something already selected and you went to go place another image, it would delete the original image that you already had. I'll show you that in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it on for now. I'm going to click on this and say open, and my cursor is now loaded with the logo. I can either click down and get it full size, or I'm going to undo that, just Command Z and undo it, or I can click down and drag and scale it to a size that I want. So this particular image is a low res image, but it'll do for now. One thing to remember in InDesign that really bothers me, and I know that a lot of people have problems with this, is when you go to move this, if I wanted to align it or move it somewhere on the page, you'll notice that I get this little bullseye here in the center. Well, if I click on that bullseye, what it does is it moves the image within the bounding box. And I can't tell you how many times I've done that, and it just drives me crazy. So what I want to do is make sure I don't click near the center there. So I'm going to click off of it and then click somewhere around the periphery, and then I can move it around no problem. I can also scale it by saying Command Shift and grabbing one of the corners. Of course, I want to scale it in proportion, and that's what Command Shift does. By the way, if you just grab one of the corners without hitting any keys, it's just going to change the size of the box and not the size of the image. So there's that. Now I'm going to show you what I meant with Replace Selected Item. I'm going to go ahead, this is selected, and I'm going to go File, Place, once again, or Command D, and I'm going to choose another version of it. So here's just the blue version. So it says Replace Selected Item, so when I hit Open, it automatically gets rid of the item that I had selected. However, if I just undo that, Edit Undo or Command Z, it returns my original item and it gives me the other item right here that I can just place. So that is an easy way to place my logos. So I'm going to delete that, and let's move to page 2. So what I want to show you now, now that you know how to scale and how to place, I'm going to show you how to define Pantone colors. So I'm going to File, Place, and I see that my file name is that this is my Pantone PMS, Pantone Color Matching System 302 and PMS 186. So in this style guide, in this logo guide, I need to tell people that these are the colors that are inside this logo. So I'm going to place it, hold down the Shift key and just scale it up here. And now I'm going to move it like I showed you a few seconds ago. And I'm going to draw a box. And I'm going to color that box in. But I need to use the Pantone colors. So I think, well, actually I know, but what we're going to do is we're going to go to our color window, which you can come here to the window, or since we're using the essentials, I can come over here to color. But we, instead of using the palette where we would normally like mix or make our own custom colors, we're going to go to swatches. And the thing in InDesign that differs from like the default of Photoshop or Illustrator is you have these color swatches, and you can create your own. So I need to double check, what was that color? 302 and 186. So I need to make Pantone 302. So I can do that by coming up here to the hamburger menu and saying new color swatch. Now of course it's going to give me some different options. I could mix it. I wouldn't want to do that. What I want to do is click on the color mode and go to Pantone Solid Coated, which is what we're using. And then I have a little finder field, and I can just come in here and type in 302, and there it is. And it is a spot color. In this case, we're doing just the spot colors. It tells me the swatch name is 302. So now I have 302 over here. That means I can select this box and color in the fill. And actually, I'm going to get rid of the stroke. I'm going to click on the stroke and say none. And then what I'll do is copy and paste this box just so I have it the same size. And I'm going to make another color, which I believe, so hamburger icon, new color swatch. Go back to the color mode, Pantone Solid Coated, and I think it's 186, and type that in. 186 is there. I can also drag and drop it onto it. So then I can just grab my type tool, and I can make a little text box right here, and I can say PMS 302, set my style, set my style. Let's just make it this, which I would probably never use. Verdane would never use it in a print layout, and then I can copy, and here's a fun tip if you're using an Apple computer. If you do Command Option Shift V, it gives you a direct copy directly on top of what you just did. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two elements, because I don't want it to be haphazardly placed, and I'm going to go to up here at the top where I have my align icons. So I have these two selected, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to center them like that. And I'm going to center them align vertically right there. So that should be the way it's supposed to be. So now I've got this, and of course I would have text up here saying two-color version or whatever. Now one other thing that I want to show you real quick, let's go to page 3. I have a black and white version of the logo, which I need in this guide. So if I go File, Place, and I have a white ping, which I have created, and I click down, I can't see anything, right? Because it's white on a white background. If I click and drag it over here to the desktop, you can see it. So I'm going to make that visible by drawing a black rectangle around it. And I'm going to get rid of that stroke color. And then I'm going to go to my drop-down menu, Object, Arrange, Send to Back. And then I've got this. And I can use my align and center it all together. I can go Object, Group, bring it over here, Command, Shift, drag, and I can scale it up. And that would be a way to show it. Now remember that these boxes aren't going to show. These are just guides, right? This is just to let you know that there's a box there. It won't print, but just like this guide, the margin guide won't print. If you want to see what your layout looks like without these guides, all you have to do is go to your View pull-down menu and say Grids and Guides, Hide Guides. And that gets rid of the margins. And then you just go View, Overprint Preview will get rid of the guide boxes. And it's showing us that. And remember, when you go to place in your image, it could appear to be low res. And all you'd have to do is go to your View pull down, Display Performance, and I have it on high quality display, but usually it's on typical display. And if you think it's too jaggedy and it shouldn't be that jaggedy, that's what you want to check. View, Display Performance, high quality display. Another tip is if your computer's being real slow or the redrawing is really slow, if you don't have a really powerful computer for whatever reason, then you could also do that, and it should make the redrawing of the screen faster if you use typical display. And then the fastest way to redraw it is go Display Performance, Fast Display, which gives you basically the bare minimum of what you would need to see everything that's on the screen. So, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get out of this overprint. And by the way, you see, because I had an overprint, it was still showing the logo under Fast Display. Fast Display usually will only display like a box, but because we had it on overprint, it's kind of our way to preview it. So I'm going to go ahead and come to, well, let's just go ahead and go to the first page. And I'm going to go to View, Display Performance, High Quality Display. And now I'm going to show you how to export your PDF. Once you're finished, I'm going to save it. I'm going to go File, Export. And that's very different. In Photoshop, you can save it as a PDF. In Illustrator, you can save it as a PDF. And in Design, you have to go File, Export. So I'm going to go File, Export. And it's telling me what I'm going to name it, where it's going to go in my logo folder. The format is a print PDF. As a guide, you generally want to use print. Print is going to give you higher resolution by default images. If we chose interactive, that's going to give us basically screen-based resolution, but I'm going to go for print. There's other versions. We can talk about that later or in another video. So anyways, I'm going to go to Adobe Print, and I'm going to, and it says here, use InDesign, document name is output file name. Sure, unless you wanted to add something like if you were going to say V1 for version 1. I'm going to say save. And then we've got a bunch of things, but for this particular project, the presets are fine. The general presets are fine. You don't have to change anything. The only thing you may want to be aware of is that you want to make sure you have all the pages. And then over here on the side, we've got marks and bleeds. Let's make sure that we don't have any marks and bleeds selected. And those would be the printer's marks and things that are going to be appearing on the outside of your document. So if I did that, I'd have printer's marks, crop marks, etc., which I'm sure you probably are aware of. But I'm going to turn that off, and I'm not going to have any bleed. And once that's done, all I have to do is hit export. That should be it. I'm going to go ahead and hide this. And here's my PDF. So I've got a 9-page PDF, and it looks like I got a lot of work to do here to finish it up. So anyways, that's that. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me. InDesign is not a super difficult program. It's just a different mindset and a different kind of mentality, a different set of steps as opposed to working with Photoshop or Illustrator or something like that. So good luck with your project, and definitely reach out if you have any questions. Thanks.